Chapter 1. A fresh start. Laying the foundation. Picture yourself at the starting line of a new journey. You might not have a map yet, and that's okay. What you do have is the ability to begin with a single powerful decision, to build a success. So, mindset from scratch. Everything meaningful starts in the mind. Before any achievement can happen in the real world, it first takes shape as a thought, a belief, or a vision in someone's head. In other words, success begins with how you think. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday or how many times you've stumbled before. What matters is that today, right now, you've decided to develop a mindset that will carry you toward your goals. This is a fresh start. Think of it as clearing the old mental clutter and laying a new foundation brick by brick. Just as a sturdy house needs a solid base, your future success needs a strong mental foundation. That foundation is built on positive beliefs, constructive thoughts, and a willingness to grow. You might wonder, what exactly is a success mindset? Simply put, it's a way of thinking that empowers you to learn, persevere, and keep improving, no matter what challenges you face. It's about believing that you can change for the better and that effort will pay off. Psychologists often talk about something called a growth mindset, the belief that abilities aren't fixed, but can be developed through dedication and effort. Research has shown that people who think this way are more likely to embrace challenges, learn from feedback, and become resilient problem solvers. In contrast, a fixed mindset, thinking you're stuck with the talent and intelligence you have now, can act like a mental roadblock, making you shy away from difficulties. In fact, studies have found that students who adopt a growth mindset consistently outperform those with a fixed mindset in school settings. Why? Because the growth-minded students challenge themselves and persist, whereas a fixed mindset often leads people to give up when things get hard. The good news is that you can choose to shift into a growth-oriented, success-focused mindset at any time. Even if you've always thought of yourself as not the successful type, you can start changing that outlook today. Success is not reserved for a select few or gifted people. It's not an accident or just a stroke of luck. Success is built step by step from the inside out. Consider this. Two people with the same skills might achieve very different results depending on how they think. If one of them believes, I can learn and improve, while the other thinks, I'll never get better than this, their outcomes will diverge. The one who believes in growth will likely keep pushing and find a way forward, whereas the one who doesn't might give up early. The difference isn't in their talent or resources, it's in their mindset. Your thoughts shape your reality in powerful ways. When you believe you can change and succeed, you start to act differently. You take more chances, you persevere longer, and you bounce back from setbacks faster. That's why building a success mindset is so important. It sets the stage for everything else. Now, starting strong is about harnessing that spark of motivation you have right now and using it to ignite real change. Think about why you want to develop a better mindset. Maybe you're tired of feeling stuck. Maybe you have big dreams, but doubt whether you can reach them. Or perhaps you just feel that your current way of thinking isn't supporting the life you want. Hold that reason close, because it will be the fuel that keeps you going. Motivation can come and go, especially on tough days, but a deep reason, your personal why, will help refocus you whenever you waver. Take a moment to consider your why. It could be for your family, for personal freedom, for proving to yourself that you can do it. Anything that matters deeply to you. This will be a well you draw strength from throughout your journey. Imagine yourself one day in the future, enjoying the results of the new mindset you're about to build. Picture moving through your day with confidence and determination, tackling problems with a clear head and a positive attitude. See yourself achieving something that right now feels just out of reach. How does that version of you think and act? Hold that image in your mind. This vision is important. It's like a preview of what's possible when you commit to changing from the inside out. Every great accomplishment starts with someone daring to believe it's possible. dare to believe in your own potential. In this journey we're embarking on together, you'll learn how to cultivate self-belief, develop mental discipline, build positive habits, set and pursue meaningful goals, handle the inevitable setbacks, stay consistent through it all, and finally, tie it all together with a clear vision for your future. Each of these pieces will stack together to form the solid structure of your success mindset. You're not just passively listening, you're actively constructing something within yourself as we go. By the end, you'll have created a mindset that stands strong like a well-built house, ready to weather storms and shine in the sun. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every successful person you admire started out with doubts and uncertainties. The reason they made it is not simply because they were lucky or inherently special, but often because they worked on their mindset and kept at it. They decided to believe in possibilities and in themselves. They treated failures not as the end, but as lessons. They kept their eyes on where they wanted to go and took steady steps to get there. You can do this too. It all starts with making that choice to begin and then taking the first step. Take a deep breath and acknowledge the significance of what you're doing right now. You're taking control of your narrative. Instead of letting circumstances or past patterns dictate your life, you're choosing a new direction. That's a powerful move. It might feel a bit daunting. Any worthwhile change does at first. But it's also exciting. You're about to unlock potential within you that perhaps you didn't even know you had. As we lay this foundation, stay open-minded and patient with yourself. Change won't happen overnight. Just like training a muscle, training your mindset will take time and practice. In fact, psychologists often compare qualities like willpower to a muscle that grows stronger with regular use. Progress might not be immediate or linear, but every bit of practice adds to your strength. There may be days when you doubt if it's working. That's normal. Keep going. Each small shift in your thinking, each little victory over negativity or fear is a brick in that foundation. Over time, those bricks pile up into something solid and remarkable. By committing to building a success mindset, you're effectively saying, I deserve to reach my dreams, and I'm willing to put in the work to change for the better. That statement alone, said sincerely to yourself, is transformative. It means you're no longer content to drift or remain stuck. You're becoming an active creator of your future. So, let's begin this journey with enthusiasm and hope. Embrace this fresh start wholeheartedly. No matter how barren or rocky the ground might have been in the past, we are breaking new ground now and planting the seeds of a stronger mind. With time, those seeds will grow into unshakable confidence, drive, and clarity. This is your beginning. Build on it. From today forward, you are not just letting life happen to you. You are consciously shaping your mindset to create the life you want. Brick by brick, thought by thought, you are laying the groundwork for success. And with this solid foundation, you'll be ready to build higher and higher. The journey ahead will be incredibly rewarding. Now that our foundation is firmly in place, let's move on to the first key pillar of a success mindset, believing in yourself. Chapter 2. Believing in yourself. Imagine for a moment two people about to tackle a big challenge, say running their first marathon or applying for a dream job. One person quietly tells themselves, I can do this. I'll figure it out step by step. The other thinks, I'm not cut out for this. I'll probably fail. Now ask yourself, which person is more likely to put in the effort, persist through difficulties, and ultimately succeed? The difference between them isn't in their physical ability or intelligence. It's in their belief in themselves. This inner voice, the belief that, yes, I can, or no, I can't, often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Henry Ford, the famous industrialist, captured this idea perfectly when he said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. In other words, if you strongly believe you can achieve something, you're far more likely to do it. But if you convince yourself that you can't, you've almost guaranteed you won't even try. It's amazing how our mindset can either propel us forward or hold us back. Self-belief is the first pillar of a success mindset for a reason. It lays the groundwork for action. When you believe in yourself, you take initiative, you hang on longer, and you bounce back quicker. When you doubt yourself, you either don't start or you give up at the first sign of trouble. Building self-belief doesn't mean you suddenly become arrogant or think you're infallible. It means trusting in your capacity to learn and improve. It's knowing deep down that I am capable of handling this. Maybe not all at once, but I can grow into it. Think of self-belief as a foundation for trying new things. If that foundation is weak or full of cracks, doubts, even small challenges can make everything wobble. But if it's solid, you can stand firm and keep pushing ahead. Many of us struggle with an inner critic, that nagging voice that says, "You're not good enough," or "Who do you think you are to attempt this?" It's important to realize that this voice is not an oracle of truth. It's often a reflection of past fears or negative experiences, not your actual potential. You have the power to change that narrative. Just because you've thought a certain way about yourself up until now doesn't mean you must continue to do so. Remember, no one is born full of confidence. Even the most self-assured people had to build their belief over time, often overcoming the very same doubts. So how do you start strengthening your self-belief? Here are a few practical steps. Challenge negative self-talk. Start paying attention to the things you say to yourself. When a thought like, "I can't do this," or "I always mess up" pops up, pause and question it. Ask, is that really true? What evidence do I have to support that? You'll often find that these negative thoughts are exaggerated or unfounded. Replace them with a more encouraging thought like, "This is hard, but I can learn," or "I'll give it my best shot." By catching and correcting negative self-talk, you gradually train your mind to be more supportive rather than self-defeating. Recall past wins and strengths. Make a habit of remembering things you have done well, big or small. It's easy to forget our successes and focus only on failures, so consciously flip that script. Maybe you remembered to stick to an exercise routine last month, or you handled a family issue with patience, or you aced a project at work. No achievement is too minor. Write these down in a journal or a note on your phone. When self-doubt creeps in, reviewing this list can remind you that you are capable and have been successful before. It's proof that you can do things even when they're difficult. Start small to build confidence. Sometimes the gap between where you are and where you want to be seems huge. Bridge that gap by setting small, achievable goals that stretch you just a little bit. If you're afraid of public speaking, for example, set a goal to speak up once in a small meeting. If you want to get fit but feel intimidated, start by committing to a 10-minute walk each day. Each small goal you achieve becomes a building block for your confidence. You'll think, "Hey, I did that. Maybe I can do a bit more next time." Over time, those small wins accumulate into big confidence. Practice positive self-talk and affirmations. This might feel awkward at first, but it truly helps. Replace, "I'm not good at this," with, "I'm learning to get better." Tell yourself, "I can handle it," even if you're not 100% sure you can. Sometimes you have to act confident to become confident. Some people find it useful to use affirmations, which are short, encouraging statements you repeat to yourself. For instance, "I am capable and strong," or "I believe in my ability to figure things out." You can say them in your mind, or out loud when you're alone, or write them down. Over time, these positive messages replace the old negative ones. It's like planting healthy new seeds in your mind's garden and weeding out the poison ivy. Visualize success. Take a few minutes to regularly imagine yourself succeeding at whatever it is you're aiming for. If you have a big presentation, picture yourself speaking clearly and confidently, and the audience reacting positively. If you're training for a race, visualize crossing the finish line strong. Visualization is a technique many athletes and performers use to build self-belief. It primes your brain to feel more confident because, in a way, you've seen yourself do it already in your mind. This can translate into more self-assurance when you actually face the real situation. Take care of your appearance and posture. This might sound superficial, but it's surprisingly effective. When you look good to yourself, you tend to feel good about yourself. Taking a shower, dressing in clothes that make you feel put together, or even just brushing your hair can lift your confidence, especially on a tough day. Posture also matters. Stand or sit up straight and hold your head high. It sends a signal to your own brain that you're confident, and it sends that signal to others too. You might notice that simply straightening your posture can make you feel more assertive and capable. Surround yourself with positivity. The people we hang around and the media we consume influence our beliefs about ourselves. Try to limit exposure to constant critics or negative influences, especially when you're in the fragile early stages of building confidence. Seek out friends or mentors who encourage you and believe in your potential. If you don't have people like that in your immediate life, consume motivational content, books, podcasts, or stories of people who overcame odds. Their positivity and success stories can inspire you and also serve as proof that building a success mindset works. It's easier to believe in yourself when others believe in you too, so build a support system around your goals if you can. Remember, self-confidence is not fixed in your DNA. It's something you can develop with practice and time. Psychological research supports this. You can take concrete actions to improve your self-confidence, and it's not something you either have or don't have at birth. Every small action you take to care for your self-image, every negative thought you challenge, and every new thing you try will gradually increase your confidence. It's like adding little deposits into your self-belief bank every day. It's also important to be kind to yourself in this process. Don't beat yourself up for having doubts. Almost everyone does. Building confidence is not about never feeling unsure. It's about not letting those feelings stop you. Even very confident people sometimes hear that little whisper of fear or doubt. The difference is that they don't obey it blindly. They acknowledge the doubt and move forward anyway, often to discover that the doubt was exaggerated or unfounded. You can learn to do the same. When you feel uncertain, tell yourself, I'm going to try anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, but moving forward despite fear. Likewise, confidence isn't the absence of self-doubt, but believing in yourself despite the doubt. Let's consider a real lifestyle example. Imagine there's a young woman named Lisa who has always been shy and doubted her abilities. At work, she has ideas but never speaks up, fearing her suggestions might be foolish. One day, determined to change, Lisa decides to test the waters. In a meeting, her heart racing, she shares a small idea. To her surprise, her colleagues appreciate her input. That small victory gives Lisa a boost. Encouraged, she starts speaking up more often and even volunteers to lead a small project. Yes, she's nervous each time, but with each effort, her confidence grows. A few months later, Lisa finds herself handling a team presentation. She's still a bit anxious, but she now has a track record of successes to remind her that she can do it. Her shy inner voice is no longer in control. She has built a new voice that says, I can handle this. Lisa's story shows how stepping little by little out of your comfort zone and proving your own capabilities to yourself can rewrite your identity from someone who doubts to someone who believes. By building self-belief, you're setting in motion a powerful cycle. Belief fuels action, action yields results, and results reinforce belief. When you trust yourself, you act, and when you act, you gain experiences that strengthen that trust. For instance, if you believe you can learn a new skill, you'll put in the effort to learn it. As you see yourself making progress, you start believing in yourself even more. It's a virtuous circle. On the other hand, if you start with I can't, you likely won't try, and you miss the chance to prove to yourself that you actually could have. To sum up this section on self-belief, believe that you can, and you're halfway there. Confidence is built, not given. Each day, do something, no matter how small, that builds your trust in yourself. Speak kindly to yourself as you would to a good friend. Over time, you'll notice a change. Things that used to intimidate you will start to feel within your reach. And as your self-belief grows, you'll be ready to take on bigger challenges and opportunities that once seemed impossible. With a growing belief in yourself as our first building block, you've laid one of the most crucial pieces of your success: mindset. Next, we'll focus on another key ingredient that goes hand in hand with self-confidence: developing mental discipline, the power to stay focused and do what needs to be done, even when it's tough. Chapter 3. Developing mental discipline. Believing in yourself is essential, but belief alone isn't enough. It must be paired with action. This is where mental discipline comes in. Mental discipline, or self-discipline, is the ability to focus on what needs to be done and stick with it, even when you don't feel like it. It's the voice in your head that says, "I will do this, no excuses," when temptation or laziness beckons. In many ways, discipline is the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments. It turns good intentions into tangible results by keeping you on track day after day. Think about times when you've set a goal or made a plan, say to study for an exam, exercise regularly, or work on a personal project. In the beginning, you might feel motivated and energized, but inevitably there come moments when your motivation dips. Maybe you're tired, bored, or distracted by something more fun. Discipline is what carries you through those moments. It's what makes you open the textbook when Netflix is calling, or go to the gym on a cold morning when your bed is so cozy. Motivation can be fleeting. Discipline is more reliable. Consider a simple, real-life scenario. John is learning to play the guitar. At first he's excited and practices every evening, but after a couple of weeks, the initial excitement fades. Now, each evening he has a choice: practice chords or scroll through his phone. If John relies only on feeling motivated, some days he'll skip practice because he just doesn't feel like it. However, if John has mental discipline, he'll pick up the guitar even on the days he's not in the mood, because he knows that's the only way he'll improve. After a few months, John's friends are impressed by how much he's learned. It wasn't magic, it was the cumulative result of small, disciplined actions. Discipline is a skill, not a trait. Just like confidence, no one is born with ironclad. Self-discipline. It's something you cultivate, step by step. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. One helpful way to look at discipline is to see it as a muscle in your mind. Each time you use your willpower to do something difficult or resist an urge, it's like giving that muscle a workout. And as psychology research suggests, willpower can indeed be strengthened over time with practice. In the beginning, it might feel very hard to, say, stick to a study schedule for more than 10 minutes without checking your phone. But if you keep at it, you'll find you can concentrate for 15 minutes, then 20, and so on. Your mental endurance grows. Here are some practical strategies to develop mental discipline. Start small and build gradually. If you want to train your self-discipline, don't try to change everything in one day. Begin with one small area. For example, decide that you'll wake up 15 minutes earlier than usual to plan your day, or that you'll set aside 10 minutes each afternoon to practice a new skill. A small challenge is easier to stick with and gives you a quick win. Once you've maintained that for a week or two, add another small challenge. This gradual approach prevents burnout and proves to yourself that you can follow through. Create a routine. Discipline thrives on consistency. Try to do certain important tasks at the same time each day. When you make something a regular part of your routine, it becomes almost automatic. You don't debate with yourself whether to do it. You just do it because it's that time of day. For instance, if you decide that every weekday from 7 to 7:30 a.m. you will read or exercise, eventually you'll find yourself mentally prepared for that activity at that time. A routine removes some of the need for sheer willpower because it reduces decision fatigue. You're not using discipline to decide what to do, only to actually do it. Minimize temptations and distractions. One of the easiest ways to improve your discipline is to set up your environment so it doesn't constantly test your willpower. If you're trying to eat healthy, for example, removing junk food from your house means you won't have to say no to potato chips 10 times a day. If you need to focus on work or study, find a spot where you won't be easily disturbed and put your phone on silent or in another room. It's a lot easier to stay disciplined when the siren call of distractions is muted. This isn't being weak, it's being smart. Even very disciplined people know not to rely on willpower alone for every little thing. They build habits and environments that support their goals. More on habits soon. Prioritize and do the hardest thing first. Mark Twain once said, if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first, meaning tackle your most challenging task first thing in the day. When your energy and willpower are at their peak, use them for the task that requires the most discipline. This not only ensures it gets done, but also gives you a psychological boost for the rest of the day. Everything after will feel easier by comparison. Plus, you avoid the stress of procrastinating on something important. If you leave the hardest task for last, you'll spend all day battling with yourself about doing it. Doing it first frees you. Set clear goals and break them down. It's hard to be disciplined if you're not sure what you should be doing. Take time to define your goals clearly, e.g., finish writing my resume by 6 p.m. instead of work on job stuff. Knowing exactly what you need to do makes it easier to focus. Also, break big tasks into smaller, concrete steps. If a task feels overwhelming, you'll be more likely to put it off. Breaking it into bite-sized pieces gives you manageable targets to discipline yourself toward. For example, if you need to write a report, break it into draft outline, write introduction, write section 1, etc. Then tell yourself, okay, for the next hour I will only focus on drafting the outline. Clear, specific goals like this increase motivation and self-control because you can see the finish line for that session. Practice delayed gratification. This means training yourself to choose a reward later rather than an immediate pleasure. Now, it's a hallmark of discipline. For instance, instead of watching your favorite show before you finish your homework, immediate reward, discipline yourself to finish the homework first and watch the show after, delayed reward. You'll enjoy the show more knowing you completed your priority. You can even turn it into a personal game. If I finish this task, I earn 20 minutes of game time or a snack, etc. Over time, you'll find it easier to delay gratification because you'll experience how good it feels to stay on track and how much more rewarding the treat is when it's earned. This skill is powerful. Studies famously found that children who learn to delay gratification, like in the marshmallow test, tended to have better life outcomes in various areas. Whether or not you've been good at this in the past, you can practice it and improve. Use tools to help focus. Sometimes our brains need a little help to stay disciplined. There are many techniques and tools that can improve concentration. For example, you might use a timer and try the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of focused work, then a 5-minute break. This can make daunting work feel more like a series of short sprints. There are also apps that block distracting websites for a period of time, if you find yourself losing hours on social media or news. Using noise cancelling. Headphones or instrumental music can help if noise distracts you. These tools aren't crutches. They're aids that create a favorable environment for your discipline to operate. Take care of your body and mind. It's extremely hard to exercise self-discipline when you're exhausted or running on fumes. Physical basics, getting enough, sleep, eating nutritious food, and staying active have a huge impact on your willpower. Think of it this way. Your brain is part of your body. If your body is drained, your brain's capacity to resist impulses and stay on task is also drained. So, consider discipline holistically. If you need to focus in the afternoon, but you slept only 4 hours, you're fighting an uphill battle. Try to maintain healthy routines, a reasonable bedtime, a balanced diet that keeps your blood sugar stable, and some form of exercise, even a walk, to keep your energy levels up. These practices will recharge your mental batteries and make self-control easier to muster. Challenge yourself regularly, within reason. Push your comfort zone a bit every day. This could be as simple as taking a cold shower for 30 seconds, adding one more lap around the track than you want to, or working an extra 15 minutes on your project when you feel like stopping. By leaning into a bit of discomfort intentionally, you train yourself to handle it. Then, when life throws bigger challenges at you, you're more prepared. However, balance this with self-care. The goal isn't to burn out, but to gently expand your capacity. Think of it like progressive weight training for your willpower. You add a little more challenge as you grow stronger. Be patient and forgiving with yourself. No one is disciplined 100% of the time. Scent of Aisin. You will have off days. You might set a plan and fail to follow through sometimes. The key is not to use one lapse as an excuse to abandon the whole effort. If you intended to study for 2 hours but only did 30 minutes today, don't beat yourself up harshly. Analyze what went wrong. Maybe you were tired or the task was unclear, and adjust. Then start again. Practice self-compassion, as it helps you maintain the confidence and motivation to keep exercising discipline. Think of how a good coach would treat an athlete who missed a workout. They wouldn't say, "You're hopeless, give up." They'd say, "It's okay, let's get back on track tomorrow." Be that kind coach to yourself. Remember that building discipline is a long-term game. Progress might not be linear, but it's happening as long as you keep trying. Mental discipline might sound strict or joyless, but it's actually very empowering. When you have discipline, you become the driver of your life rather than a passenger. You don't wait to feel like doing the important things. You do them because you know your goals and values are worth the effort. This doesn't mean you never relax or have fun. It just means you create a healthy balance where you're in control of your time and actions, not just drifting. Over time, disciplined actions lead to habits, and those good habits will carry you even on days when your willpower is low. By developing mental discipline, you're building the muscle that will carry you through tough tasks and towards your dreams. You'll find that the more you practice, the easier it becomes to do what's necessary, and the less you have to wrestle with yourself. It sets you up perfectly for our next focus, building effective habits. Habits are what discipline turns into when you repeat it enough. They can make your success mindset almost automatic. So let's explore how to create habits that support your goals and make success a daily practice. Chapter 4. Building good habits. If mental discipline is the effort you invest each day, habits are the autopilot that develops from that effort. A habit is a behavior you've repeated so many times that it becomes almost automatic. You do it without having to wrestle with yourself each time. Building good habits is like constructing the infrastructure of your daily life that makes success more likely. Once something becomes a habit, it requires far less willpower to carry out. In fact, good habits allow you to conserve your mental energy for important decisions and challenges because the basics are handled routinely. Think about the habits you already have. For example, most people have a morning routine. Maybe you wake up, brush your teeth, get dressed, make coffee, etc. You don't debate with yourself, "Should I brush my teeth today?" You just do it because it's ingrained. Now imagine if positive behaviors like working on your goals, exercising or reading could become just as automatic as brushing your teeth. That's the power of habits in a success mindset. They make beneficial actions part of your regular life. Habits shape our days, and our days shape our lives. There's a popular saying often attributed to Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. There's truth in that. The small actions you do consistently matter more in the long run than occasional big efforts. Eating one healthy meal won't change much, but eating healthy meals habitually will transform your body. Studying once is fine, but studying a bit every day as a habit will greatly improve your knowledge. Our lives are essentially the sum of our habits. How do we build good habits from scratch? Here are some practical steps and strategies. Start with one habit at a time. It can be tempting to overhaul your whole life overnight, but taking on too much at once is a recipe for burnout. Instead, focus on establishing one new habit or changing one bad habit at a time. For instance, if you want to improve your morning routine, maybe start with the habit of waking up at a set time or making your bed every day. Once that becomes second nature, move on to adding the next habit, like a short morning stretch or reviewing your day's plan. By concentrating your efforts, you give yourself a better chance to succeed. Use triggers or cues. A trigger is something that reminds you to do your habit. Our brains often latch onto patterns like, after I do X, I do Y. You can piggyback a new habit onto an existing routine. For example, let's say you want to start meditating daily. If you already have a habit of drinking coffee each morning, make a plan that right after you finish your coffee, existing habit, you'll sit for 5 minutes to meditate, new habit. The coffee becomes your cue. If you want to practice a language each day, you might do it right after brushing your teeth. At night, choose a trigger that happens reliably in your day and attach the new behavior to it. Over time, the new habit will fire almost automatically when the trigger happens. Make it easy, especially at first. When establishing a habit, set the entry barrier low, so low that you can't find a reason to skip it. If you want to develop a habit of reading, you might start with just 5 pages per day or 10 minutes. Even if you feel you could do more, commit to something easily achievable. If you're building a habit of exercise, begin with a 15-minute walk or a short home workout. The idea is to get into the rhythm of doing it daily or on the set schedule, not to exhaust yourself. Once the habit is firm, you can gradually increase the intensity or duration. But in the beginning, consistency matters more than quantity. It's better to do a little bit every day than to do a lot once and then stop for a week. Be consistent and try not to skip. In the early stages, try your best to perform your habit every time you intended to. Each repetition is like laying another brick in that habit foundation. If you skip frequently early on, the habit won't stick. However, life happens. If you do miss a day, don't panic or give up. Just get back on track the next day. An effective rule of thumb is, never miss twice in a row. One miss is a small bump, but 2 misses can start a new pattern. So if you miss a workout on Monday, make it a priority to exercise on Tuesday. Protect the chain of repetitions. Many people find habit tracking helpful for this. You can mark an X on a calendar for each day you complete the habit. Seeing. A chain of X's grow can be motivating, and you'll be inclined not to break the streak. Reward your habit immediately. Our brains are wired to repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. If a habit only produces a payoff far in the future, it can be hard for your brain to latch onto it. So find a way to give yourself a small reward whenever you do the habit. It could be as simple as mentally high-fiving yourself or enjoying a cup of tea right after exercising. Some people combine something they enjoy with the habit to make it fun, like only allowing themselves to watch their favorite show while they're on the treadmill, or listening to an exciting audiobook, while doing household chores. In fact, researchers found that giving people enjoyable audiobooks that they could only listen to at the gym made them visit the gym 51% more often in the short term. The immediate reward, getting to hear more of a gripping story, helped turn exercise into a habit. So don't underestimate the power of a little instant gratification used wisely to reinforce your new behavior. Design your environment for success. Make it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. If your habit is to practice guitar each night, keep your guitar on a stand in the living room where you'll see it, rather than hidden in a closet. If your goal is to read before bed, put the book on your pillow in the morning so it's waiting for you. Conversely, reduce exposure to things that interfere with your habit. If you're trying to cut down on video game time and do more coding practice, maybe keep the gaming console in a cabinet or set a timer on your device. An example of environment design from Healthy Habits. If you want to eat more fruit, Keep sai, a bowl of fresh fruit visible on the counter. If you plan to exercise after work, pack your gym bag in the morning and maybe go straight to the gym from work so you don't get derailed by the couch at home. Small tweaks to your surroundings can strongly nudge your behavior by reminding you, cues, and by removing friction to start the habit. Be patient. Habits. Take time to cement. There's a popular myth that it takes 21 days to form a habit. In reality, the time can vary a lot. The 21-day idea originally came from observations by a plastic surgeon about adjusting to physical changes, not habits. Modern research has found that some habits take much longer. One landmark study found that on average, it took people about 66 days, roughly 2 months, for a new behavior to become automatic. And that was an average. Some people formed a habit in as little as 18 days, while for others, it took over 200 days. Simpler habits, like drinking a glass of water after breakfast, might form in a few weeks, while more complex ones, like a new workout routine, could take many months. The lesson is, don't lose heart if a habit doesn't feel natural after. Just a few weeks. Keep going, and it will get easier. The early phase is the hardest because you still need a lot of conscious effort. With repetition, you'll gradually spend less mental energy to do it. Stay accountable, if it helps. Some people find it useful to create accountability for their habits. This could mean telling a friend or family member about what you're trying to do so they can encourage you or check in. Or you might join a group, online or offline, of people working on similar habits, like a running group, a study group, etc. Even using an app where you log your habit daily can give a sense that someone is watching, even if it's just a streak counter. Knowing that someone else cares about whether you show up can strengthen your resolve to not slack off. The key is to use accountability as positive reinforcement, not as a source of shame. Pick someone who will support you kindly, not those who might mock or discourage your ambitions. Review and adjust. As you practice your habit, periodically evaluate how it's going. Do you find it hard to stick with? If so, why? Maybe the time of day isn't right. Perhaps you planned morning runs, but you find you have more energy in the evenings. Maybe the initial scope is too ambitious. Perhaps writing for an hour a day is too much. Try 30 minutes. It's okay to tweak the plan. The goal is to find a sustainable pattern that works for you. There's no one-size-fits-all for habits. As long as you're continuing the behavior regularly, you're on the right track. Replace bad habits by filling the void. Finally, if you're trying to break a bad habit, like excessive social media, scrolling or smoking, it often helps to replace it with a better habit, rather than just trying to stop cold with nothing to fill the gap. Humans tend to follow routines. If every day after dinner you usually watch TV for hours and you want to cut down, plan a different activity for that time, maybe a walk, or calling a friend, or working on a hobby. It's easier to change a habit loop than to eliminate it. Identify the cue for the bad habit, e.g., feeling bored after dinner, and substitute a different routine when that cue arises, e.g., when bored, do 10 minutes of yoga. This way, you're still satisfying the need, relaxation, distraction, etc., but in a healthier way. Building good habits is one of the best investments of effort you can make because the returns are long-lasting. Once a habit is truly established, it requires much less effort to maintain. You'll find yourself doing beneficial things almost automatically. That frees up your willpower to tackle new challenges. Moreover, habits have a way of compounding. One good habit can lead to another. For example, getting into an exercise habit might improve your sleep quality, which then gives you more energy to focus at work, etc. Over time, a network of positive habits supports the mindset and life you want. As you work on habits, remember that everyone is human. Even with solid habits, you might slip occasionally, and that's okay. What matters is that you consistently return to your routines. Think of it like a plane heading to a destination. It might drift off course now and then due to winds, but it keeps correcting and eventually arrives. With your habits, Just keep correcting back to your path when you stray. By turning disciplined actions into habits, you've built a strong engine for progress in your life. Now you're not always pushing the rock uphill. The rock starts rolling on its own momentum, with self-belief, discipline, habits, goals, resilience, and consistency working together. The next step is to give your efforts clear direction. That's where effective goal setting comes into play, which we'll explore next. Stay flexible and adjust actions, not the goal, if needed. Life is unpredictable. Even with a solid plan, you might encounter obstacles or things might take longer than expected. If you find yourself off track, don't be too quick to abandon the goal. Instead, adjust your approach. There's a saying, if the plan doesn't work, change the plan, not the goal. In fact, the ancient philosopher Confucius put it this way: when it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. This means if you still care about the goal, find another way. Perhaps one strategy you tried isn't working. Brainstorm alternatives and try those. For example, if your goal was to get a certain job and months of online applications aren't yielding results, maybe shift tactics to networking more or improving your portfolio. Flexibility is key. The path to your goal might not be a straight line, and that's normal. Track your progress and celebrate milestones. As you work towards your goal, regularly measure how far you've come. This could mean weekly check-ins or monthly reviews where you compare your progress against your plan. Tracking does two things. It keeps you honest. You can't fool yourself that you're doing great if the data says otherwise. And it motivates you by highlighting progress. Whenever you hit a milestone, say you finish the first chapter of your thesis or you saved the first $1,000, take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate it. Reward yourself in a healthy way or simply give yourself credit and share the achievement with a friend. Celebrating milestones isn't just fun. It reinforces your behavior and keeps your morale high for the next phase of work. Learn from setbacks and keep going. Not every goal will be achieved exactly as planned. You might face setbacks, a rejection, a failure, or a delay. When this happens, treat it as part of the process, not the end. Ask, what can I learn from this? Maybe your timeline was too optimistic, or you need to build a certain skill. First, or external circumstances intervened. Use that insight to adjust your plan and continue. This is where having that success mindset you've been cultivating really helps. You see setbacks as lessons and temporary obstacles. If a goal turns out to be truly unfeasible or circumstances change drastically, it's okay to redefine or replace it with a new goal. Just make sure that decision is based on thoughtful consideration and not simply fear or temporary discouragement. Keep in mind a few extra tips. Try to maintain a balance between different life areas so you're not neglecting one critical area, like health or relationships, by obsessing over a single goal in another area. It's also helpful to limit the number of major goals you pursue at once to avoid spreading yourself too thin. Many people do well with 1-3 major goals at a time. For example, 1 career goal, 1 personal goal, 1 health goal. Goal setting is a powerful practice. It's said that a surprisingly large percentage of people drift through life without clearly defined goals. Simply by setting goals, you're already ahead of the pack. You give yourself a target to focus on, which energizes your effort and guides your decisions. One study of Harvard alumni famously found that the small minority who had written goals achieved significantly more in life than those who didn't. Whether or not you've set goals in the past, you can start now to bring more purpose and direction into your journey. By setting clear goals, you've chosen your destination. With your success mindset, discipline, habits, and goals all working together, you're making remarkable progress. However, no journey is without bumps. Next, we'll talk about something every successful person must deal with: setbacks and failures, and how to handle them in a way that propels you forward instead of holding you back. Chapter 5. Setting clear. Goals. Up to this point, we've talked about mindset, discipline, and habits, the internal tools that empower you. Now it's time to aim those tools at something meaningful. Goals give your efforts direction. Without clear goals, you could be very busy, even with great habits and discipline, but not necessarily get where you want to go. It's like setting out on a journey without a destination in mind. You might wander a lot, but never end up somewhere you truly want to be. Setting clear goals is about deciding what you want to achieve and mapping out a path to get there. Goals. Turn your dreams and ideas into targets to work toward. Imagine two friends, Sarah and Nina. Both are talented cooks and dream of opening their own restaurant someday. Sarah keeps this dream in her mind, but doesn't outline any steps to make it happen. She just works her cooking job day by day and hopes that someday the opportunity will come. Nina, on the other hand, sets specific goals. In 1 year, save a certain amount of money. In 2 years, develop a business plan. By year 3, start looking for locations. She writes these down and even tells a mentor about them. Over time, who do you think is more likely to be running a restaurant? Probably Nina. Not necessarily because she's a better cook, but because she set clear goals and kept herself accountable to them. Goals are like the blueprint for a house. With them, you have a plan to build something. Without them, you might just end up piling bricks aimlessly. Good goals have a few important characteristics. They are clear, actionable, and meaningful to you. When you set a goal, you should know exactly what you're aiming for, and roughly how you'll know when you've reached it. A vague goal like be successful or get in shape is hard to measure or act on. What does successful mean to you? How will you know if you're there? A clearer goal would be get a promotion to senior analyst within 2 years, or run a 5K race by November, or save $5,000 this year. Specificity sharpens your focus. It also helps to set goals that are challenging but realistic, something that makes you stretch, but not so impossible that you lose motivation. Here are some effective strategies for goal setting. Identify what truly matters to you. Your goals should reflect your own aspirations, not what others expect of you. Take some time for self-reflection. What do you really want in the different areas of your life? Career, health, personal growth, relationships, etc. Choose goals that excite and motivate you when you think about achieving them. When a goal aligns with your passions or values, you'll have a natural drive to work on it, even when things get tough. Be specific and concrete. Define your goal in clear terms. If your goal is education, for example, instead of saying, I want to learn French, specify, I want to be able to hold a 15-minute conversation in French within a year, or pass a B2 French language exam by next June. Specific goals answer the questions. What exactly do I want to achieve? By when? If there's a number or timeline attached, even better, e.g., a date, an amount, a percentage. This turns a wish into a target. Make goals. Measurable. This goes hand in hand with being specific. You should have some way to measure your progress. If your goal is fitness-related, it could be a certain weight, a run time, or number of workouts per week. If it's career-related, it might be applying to a certain number of jobs or gaining a particular certification. Measurable criteria let you know if you're on track. They also give you mini milestones to celebrate along the way, which keeps you motivated. Break big goals into smaller milestones. Large goals can feel overwhelming, but any goal can be divided into smaller steps. If your goal is to write a 300-page novel in a year, break it down to roughly 25 pages a month, which is about a page a day. That feels much more attainable. If your goal is to pay off $10,000 of debt, figure out how much you need to pay per month to reach that in a set time frame. Milestones act as checkpoints. They not only make a big project less daunting, but also give you regular opportunities to check your progress and adjust if needed. Set deadlines and put them on a calendar. A goal without a deadline can easily turn into a someday wish. By assigning a date, You create a sense of urgency and a timeline to work with. If you say, "Someday, I'll start my own business," it's easy for years to pass without action. Instead, if you set a goal like, "By next June, I will launch my online store," you have a clear target. Work backward from that date to plan what needs to happen when. For example, by March, finalize product designs. By April, set up the website. By May, begin marketing. Mark these key dates in your calendar or planner. Deadlines help turn your intentions into scheduled tasks. Write your goals down. This step is simple but incredibly powerful. Write your goals on paper, in a journal, or a digital document, somewhere you can regularly see them. There's something about writing that makes a goal feel more real and commits you to it. Studies have found that people who write down their goals are significantly more likely to achieve them. You could even phrase your goals as positive statements, e.g., "I will by date," and read them to yourself often. Some people keep their written goals on a card in their wallet or pinned to their mirror as a daily reminder. The act of writing and seeing your goals keeps them fresh in your mind and strengthens your commitment. Share your goals with someone you trust. This can be scary, but it often helps. When you tell a close friend, family member, or mentor about your goal, two things happen. First, you solidify your own commitment by speaking it out loud. Second, you create a sense of accountability. Now someone else knows, and they might ask you about your progress. Knowing that others are aware of your aims can motivate you to keep going on days you feel like slacking. One study or survey noted that explaining your goals to someone or making a public commitment significantly increases the chances of achieving them. For example, if you announce to your friends that you're going to run that 5K in November, you'll be more driven to train because you know they'll likely cheer you on and ask you about it. Choose supportive people who will encourage you, not those who might mock or discourage your ambitions. Plan the steps and get started. A goal without a plan can end up as just a pretty sentence on paper. Once you have the goal defined, outline the action steps you need to take. If your goal is complex, do some research. Find out what it takes to get there. Make a checklist or timeline of tasks. For instance, a goal to get a new job in my field by December might include steps like update resume, complete an online course to boost skills, apply to at least 5 jobs a week starting in September, reach out to 10 contacts or mentors for advice, practice interview questions, etc. After planning, importantly, take the first step. Even if it's small, do something to initiate momentum. Send that first email, sign up for that class, go for that first run. An average plan, vigorously executed, beats a perfect plan that never leaves the paper. Chapter 6. Overcoming Setbacks and Failures. No journey toward success is perfectly smooth. Even with the best mindset, strong discipline, good habits, and clear goals, you will encounter setbacks. It could be a project that flops, a missed target, a rejection, or an unexpected obstacle life throws at you. The difference between those who ultimately succeed and those who give up often comes down to how they handle these moments of failure. A success mindset doesn't protect you from all failure. Rather, it changes how you interpret and respond to failure. First, understand that setbacks are a natural part of growth. They happen to everyone. Many of the world's most accomplished people have failed, often multiple times, on their way to success. What sets them apart is that they didn't treat failure as the end of the story, just a learning chapter. They remained resilient and kept moving forward. Thomas Edison, one of the most prolific inventors in history, famously reframed his failures during inventing. When asked about the many experiments that didn't work leading up to the light bulb, Edison reportedly said, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that will not work." That perspective is golden. Each failed attempt wasn't a verdict on his ability. It was valuable information, a step closer to the solution. If one approach didn't work, it meant he could eliminate that option and try a different one. Similarly, Think of someone like Michael Jordan, often hailed as one of the greatest basketball players ever. It's easy to see his career and assume it was just a straight line of talent and success. But as a teenager, Jordan faced a significant setback. He was cut from his high school varsity basketball team. He didn't make the team on his first try, a crushing moment for a young athlete. Instead of giving up basketball, though, Jordan used that disappointment as fuel. He later described that being cut was the best thing that happened to him. Why? Because it motivated him to practice like never before. Whenever he felt like slacking off during training, he would remember that list without his name on it, and it would spur him to push harder. He turned a setback into a driving force. Jordan's story illustrates that sometimes a failure or rejection can ignite the fire you need to excel. So how can you cultivate this kind of resilient response to setbacks? Here are some strategies. Allow yourself to feel, but don't get stuck. When a setback happens, it's normal to feel upset, disappointed, or frustrated. Maybe you studied hard but failed an exam, or you invested time in a business idea that didn't pan out. It's okay to feel pain or sadness. You're human. Acknowledge those emotions. Cry if you need to, vent to a friend, or simply take a day to lick your wounds. But then, make a conscious decision to move forward. Don't let temporary disappointment harden into long-term defeat. Give yourself a short time to grieve the setback, then mentally close that chapter and prepare to learn from it. Analyze what went wrong without harsh self-blame. Once the initial sting subsides, take a clear-eyed look at what happened. Try to step outside your ego and examine the situation as if you were a coach or advisor. Ask, why did this setback occur? Were there factors in my control? What can I do differently next time? This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about finding lessons. Maybe you realize you needed to prepare more, or a strategy was flawed, or perhaps the goal was unrealistic in the given time frame. Often, failures teach you exactly what not to do, which is incredibly valuable information. By dissecting the experience, you transform it from a vague disappointment into concrete learning. Reframe the failure as a lesson. This is a classic trick used by resilient people. Instead of thinking, I failed, it's over, tell yourself, I've learned something important from this. Even asking the simple question, what is this teaching me, can shift your mindset. For instance, if you didn't get a job you interviewed for, the lesson might be that you need to improve your interview skills, or maybe that particular role wasn't the right fit. If a competition didn't go well, perhaps you learned you need a different training approach. By focusing on the lesson, you remove some of the negative emotional charge and see the experience as part of your development, not a verdict on your worth. Adjust your strategy and try again. Now that you have identified some lessons, think about your next move. This might mean adjusting your action plan or trying a new approach. Treat it like a science experiment. If hypothesis A didn't yield the result, modify something and test hypothesis B. Perhaps you need to study differently, target a different market, seek advice from a mentor, or practice more consistently. The key is to not abandon your goal, unless upon reflection you realize it truly isn't right for you anymore, but to find a smarter way to pursue it. Remember the earlier quote from Confucius, don't adjust the goal, adjust the steps. Each setback can guide you in refining your approach for your next attempt. Maintain a growth mindset. Earlier we talked about the growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed. This mindset is especially crucial when facing setbacks. Instead of thinking, I'm just no good at this, a fixed mindset reaction, a growth mindset response would be, I'm not good at this yet, but I can improve. People with a growth mindset tend to view challenges and failures as opportunities to learn and get better. So remind yourself that every expert was once a beginner and likely failed plenty along the way. This setback is not a permanent state, but a stepping stone. Adopting this attitude will give you resilience and the determination to keep going. Use your support system. You don't have to go through failures alone. Share your experience with trusted friends, family, or mentors who can offer perspective and encouragement. They might help you see positives you missed or solutions you hadn't thought of. Sometimes just hearing, "I believe in you" from someone you respect can reignite your own self-belief. Be open to feedback as well. Maybe a mentor or peer has some constructive advice on what you could do differently. Supportive people can also simply be there to remind you of your strengths when you're feeling low. Revisit your why and your vision. When you fall down, it helps to remember why you were trying to climb in the first place. Think back to your core motivation, the reason you set that goal or embarked on that challenge. Reconnecting with your why can give you a fresh surge of energy to get back up. For instance, if you lost a match, remember how much you love the sport and want to improve, or how you're aiming for a bigger tournament. If a business idea failed, recall your vision of being an entrepreneur and why it matters to you: freedom, innovation, helping others, etc. This big picture perspective can make one setback seem smaller in comparison to the overall journey. Stay calm and keep problems in perspective. In the heat of the moment, a failure can feel like the end of the world. But try to zoom out. Will this setback matter in 5 years? Often the answer is no, or it will have contributed to your growth in some way by then. Keep perspective that one exam, one project, one game is just a part of your life, not the entirety of it. This doesn't mean downplaying your goals, but it means recognizing that life is larger and there will be more opportunities. Sometimes, what feels like a disaster now can even set you up for something better later. There are countless stories of people who didn't get their dream job or were laid off, only to end up finding their true calling elsewhere as a result. Cultivate resilience and grit. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, and grit is the perseverance to keep going for long-term goals despite setbacks. You can strengthen these qualities by intentionally facing challenges, as you've been doing with discipline, and proving to yourself that you can survive hardship. Each time you overcome a setback, you build confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes next. It's like forging a sword through fire. It gets stronger. Remind yourself that the road to success is often a marathon, not a sprint. Grit means you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when the path gets steep. Those who succeed are often not the ones who never fell, but the ones who kept getting up. Celebrate your courage and progress, even in defeat. This may sound strange, but learn to pat yourself on the back for trying, even if things didn't go as planned. You showed up, you took a risk. That's more than many people do. Maybe you didn't win the contract, but you dared to put your idea out there. Maybe the relationship ended, but you gave it your best and learned about yourself. Recognize these efforts. This mindset keeps you from becoming too fearful of failure. It encourages you to take calculated risks and try new things, because you know that no matter the outcome, you'll gain something, either a win or a lesson. Every setback carries with it the seed of an equal or greater advantage. As the old Napoleon Hill saying goes, it might be hard to see in the moment, but often our failures teach us far more than our successes. They reveal our character, they highlight areas to grow, and they can even redirect us to paths we didn't realize were better for us. Think back to earlier chapters. You've built self-belief, so know that a failure doesn't change who you are or what you're capable of. You've built discipline and habits, so you have the tools to get back on the horse and continue the work. You've set goals and have a vision, so you know where you want to go even if the route changes. In many ways, everything you've cultivated in your success mindset so far is precisely what will carry you through tough times. In the journey to success, setbacks are not roadblocks, but stepping stones, if you choose to step on them. Let each failure make you wiser, each delay make you more determined. Keep the faith in yourself strong. As you consistently pick yourself up and move forward, you become virtually unstoppable, because failure loses its ability to make you quit. Having learned how to turn setbacks into comebacks, you're well equipped to keep pressing on. The next piece of the puzzle is maintaining momentum. Success isn't just about one big push, but about staying consistent over time. In the following section, we'll explore how to keep going steadily on your path without burning out or giving up. Chapter 7. Staying consistent for the long haul by. Now you have many pieces of the puzzle. You believe in yourself, you have discipline, you've built productive habits, set goals, and learned to bounce back from setbacks. The next challenge is to keep all of these pieces working together consistently over time. Consistency is the secret sauce that turns small efforts into big results. It's not very flashy. Often it's doing the same helpful things over and over, day after day, but it's incredibly powerful. In a world where people often look for quick fixes or get excited and then quickly lose steam, being the one who stays consistent is like having a superpower. Think of consistency as the act of showing up for your goals, for your habits, for your values, not just once or sporadically, but repeatedly. When you consistently put in effort, even moderate effort, the effects compound. It's like saving money with interest. A little bit saved regularly can turn into a fortune over time due to compounding. Similarly, small actions done consistently accumulate into significant improvement. If you write one page every single day, by the end of the year you have 365 pages, potentially a whole book. If you do 20 push-ups every morning, that's over 7,000 push-ups in a year, which will definitely make you stronger. Each instance might seem small, but together they add up to something meaningful. However, staying consistent is easier said than done. We all know the story. Someone starts a new routine or goal with enthusiasm, exercise, diet, project, etc., keeps at it for a few weeks, and then gradually the motivation fades and they slip back into old patterns. How do you avoid that fate? How can you maintain momentum when the novelty wears off and things start to feel tedious or difficult? Here are some strategies to help you stay consistent in the long run. Remember your why. Regularly. Consistency can become challenging when you forget the reason behind your efforts. To avoid going on autopilot and losing interest, regularly remind yourself why your goal or habit is important. You might do this by visualizing the end result or by reading a personal mission statement you wrote. For instance, if you're consistently working out because you want to be healthier for your family, keep that thought front and center. Maybe a family photo on your wall where you exercise. If you're practicing guitar daily because you dream of playing on stage, imagine that scene vividly whenever practice feels like a chore. Reconnecting with the purpose ignites motivation on days when you feel blah. Create a routine and stick to it. We touched on routines earlier, but they are worth emphasizing here. A solid routine can carry you through low motivation periods. If every weekday at 8 a.m. you sit down to write, after a while it becomes just what you do at that time. You're less reliant on willpower because it's a habit ingrained in your schedule. Aim to schedule your important tasks or practices at consistent times. Over time, if you skip, it will feel like something's off. That's your routine nudging you to get back on track. Embrace the boring and the plateaus. Let's be honest, consistency can be boring at times. Doing the same thing over and over can lose its spark. Also, progress isn't always linear. You might hit plateaus where it seems like you're not improving despite your consistent effort. Recognize that both boredom and plateaus are normal parts of any long-term endeavor. The key is to not interpret them as reasons to quit. In fact, being able to push through the dull days is part of what separates achievers. Find ways to spice things up if needed, like a new running route for your daily run, or a new recipe if you're consistently cooking healthy meals. But sometimes you simply have to put your head down and do the work, trusting that results will come in time. You can also remind yourself of how far you've come already, even if progress recently slowed. Consistency isn't always exciting, but it leads to exciting outcomes. Track and celebrate progress. When you're in the middle of a long journey, it can be hard to see day-to-day changes. That's why tracking is useful. Keep a log or journal of your activities. It could be a workout log, a daily word count, a savings spreadsheet, anything relevant. Over weeks and months, you'll have concrete evidence of how consistent you've been. More importantly, you can spot improvements. Maybe you're lifting more weight, writing faster, or saving more money than a few months ago. Take time to acknowledge these wins. Celebrate milestones, no matter how small. If you set out to practice piano every day and you've done it for 30 days straight, reward yourself with something enjoyable that doesn't break your overall goals. These celebrations act as fuel to keep you going. Stay accountable and seek support. Just as sharing goals can help you achieve them, having accountability can help you stay consistent. This might mean having a workout buddy or a study partner who expects you to show up. Or it could be as simple as telling a friend, "I'm going to practice coding for an hour every day this month," and asking them to check in on you. Knowing that someone will ask you, "Hey, did you do it today?" can provide that extra push on days you're tempted to skip. There are also communities and online forums for many activities where members inspire each other by sharing daily progress. Being part of a group where consistency is the norm can encourage you to keep pace. Balance intensity and rest to avoid burnout. One threat to consistency is burnout. When you push yourself too hard without rest, you risk exhaustion or injury, which can halt your progress entirely. To stay consistent, pace yourself. It's okay, and often smart, to schedule rest days or lighter periods. Consistency doesn't mean never resting. It means showing up over the long term. For example, if you're exercising regularly, taking a rest day once a week can help your body recover, so you can keep exercising in the weeks to come. If you're working intensely on a project, giving yourself an evening off can rejuvenate your mind. Think of it like maintaining a car. You need regular refueling and oil changes to keep it running smoothly on a long journey. Plan for breaks and downtime, and you'll actually be able to sustain your routine for longer. Adapt, don't quit, when life happens. Life is not static. Schedules change, unexpected events occur. Consistency doesn't mean rigidity to the point of breaking. If your situation changes, new job hours, a baby, an illness, etc., be willing to adapt your routines so you can continue in a new form rather than stopping altogether. Maybe you can't do your hour of reading in the morning anymore, but you could switch to 30 minutes at lunch. Or you temporarily reduce your workout days but keep at least a couple per week instead of 0. The idea is to keep some momentum even if you have to dial it up or down. This way you stay connected to your goal and can ramp back up when possible. All or nothing thinking, "If I can't do it fully, I won't do it at all," is the enemy of consistency. Do what you can under the circumstances. A little is better than nothing. Keep the big picture in mind. Consistency is about the long haul. Sometimes when you're slogging through daily efforts, it's easy to lose sight of the end goal. Periodically, take a step back and envision the big picture, the cumulative impact of your consistency. Picture yourself a year from now, having kept up these good practices. What will you have achieved? How will you feel? This mental zoom out can be really motivating. It reminds you that today's small action is part of something much larger and meaningful. It also helps you see time differently. A tough week is just a tiny slice of the year. What matters more is the overall trend that you keep moving forward. Be patient and trust the process. In our fast-paced world, we often expect quick results, but real change usually takes time. Trust that consistency will pay off, even if you can't see all the benefits right away. Patience is a virtue closely tied with consistency. For example, if you're learning a new language, there will be days you feel like you're not improving at all. But if you keep studying every day, one day you'll find you can read a page or hold a conversation and realize how far you've come. There's a tipping point that you can only reach through sustained effort. As the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour. Keep laying those bricks, and eventually you'll have a cathedral. Inspiration wisely. Motivation will naturally ebb and flow over a long period. One way to give yourself boosts is to regularly consume a bit of inspiration related to your field or goal. If you're a writer, maybe read about your favorite authors' writing routines or successes. If you're training for a marathon, watch documentaries or YouTube videos about great runners or everyday people who accomplished it. Inspiration can reignite your passion and remind you why you started. However, be careful not to fall into the trap of only seeking inspiration and not doing the work. Use it as a supplement, not a replacement for action. Consistency is built on action, even when you're not particularly inspired that day. Bottom line is that consistent, sustained effort beats short-lived bursts of intensity almost every time. One fitness coach put it succinctly: "You don't get in shape by working out for 10 hours straight once. You get in shape by working out for 30 minutes consistently over many days." Or as habits expert James Clear said, "Intensity makes a good story. Consistency makes progress." By staying consistent, you become the tortoise that eventually outruns the hare. It might not be glamorous each day, but when you look back after months and years, you'll be astonished at what you've achieved. Consistency builds trust in yourself too. Every day you honor your commitments, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. That confidence can then fuel even greater efforts. Now, with consistency on your side, you are well on your way. The final piece we'll explore is having a vision for your future, a guiding star that gives all this effort a unifying purpose and keeps you oriented toward your ultimate definition of success. Chapter 8. Creating your vision for the future. Throughout this journey, we've focused on building the mindset and habits that lead to success. Now we turn to the bigger picture, your vision. If goals are the steps on a ladder, vision is the view from the top of that ladder. It's the overarching picture of what you ultimately want your life to look like. A clear vision acts as a guiding star. It gives all your efforts a unifying purpose and helps you make choices that align with the future you want to create. So, what exactly is a vision? It's a vivid mental image of your ideal future. Not just one achievement, but the overall life and impact you aspire to have. It answers deep questions like, what does success mean to me? How do I want to feel and live each day? What kind of person do I want to be? What legacy do I want to leave? Your vision can encompass career ambitions, personal milestones, relationships, lifestyle, and the values you stand for. Importantly, it's personal. No two visions are exactly the same. One person's vision might be to run a thriving business that also gives back to the community. Another's might be to live a simple, peaceful life in the countryside growing their own food, and someone else's could be to become a leading expert in their field while raising a loving family. There's no right or wrong answer. It's about what you truly want. Every great achievement in the world began as a vision in someone's mind. The technology you use daily, the companies and organizations that shape society, the social changes that improve lives, all started with individuals who dared to imagine something better and different. In the same way, your personal vision has the power to guide real change in your life. It might start as just a dream or a sketchy idea, but with the mindset and tools you've built, you can steadily turn that vision into reality. Having a clear vision is powerful for several reasons. First, vision provides direction and motivation. When you have a compelling picture of your future, it's easier to get up in the morning and do the hard things because you know what you're working towards. A strong vision gives you something to look forward to and continuously work towards, helping you overcome roadblocks and hurdles. It's like light at the end of the tunnel that pulls you through the dark moments. Second, vision adds focus and alignment. With a vision in mind, you can better evaluate opportunities and decisions. Does this move me toward my vision or away from it? It becomes a filter for how you spend your time and energy. If your vision is to be a healthy, balanced person, You'll recognize that working 80-hour weeks or skipping sleep doesn't align, and you'll adjust accordingly. If your vision is to help others, you'll gravitate towards activities where you can have a positive impact. In short, vision helps you set priorities. Third, vision gives meaning to your journey. It's closely tied to your why. As we've touched on, understanding why you're doing something fuels you with purpose. A personal vision is essentially the big why for your life. It connects your daily actions, which sometimes may feel mundane or difficult, to a larger significance. For example, imagine your vision is to improve education in your community. On a tough day, dealing with bureaucracy or studying policy might frustrate you. But if you remind yourself, I'm doing this because I see a future where every child here gets a great start in life, that meaning carries you through. It transforms tasks from chores into mission steps. How do you go about creating a vision from scratch if you don't have one yet? Here are some steps to help craft and nurture your personal vision. Dream freely and imagine your best life. Set aside some quiet time when you won't be interrupted. Allow yourself to daydream in detail about your ideal future. Suspend any buts or practical constraints for the moment. Really let your imagination roam. In this ideal future, what are you doing? Who is with you? What kind of work or activities fill your days? How do you feel emotionally and physically? Write down whatever comes to mind, even if it seems outlandish or far away. This is your canvas to paint without judgment. Don't worry yet about how you'll get there. Just clarify what you want that future to be. Identify core values and passions. As you envision different elements of your future, note the underlying values or passions they represent. For instance, if your dream involves traveling to many countries, perhaps you value adventure, learning, and freedom. If you envision a big family gathering in a home you designed, maybe you value family, creativity, and stability. Knowing what values drive you will help ensure your vision is authentic to you. It also helps you articulate why that vision matters. You might realize that at the heart of your vision is a desire for freedom, love, impact, creativity, security, or something else. Those core values become like the foundation of your vision, the why beneath the what. Write a vision statement. This is a technique many find helpful. Try to summarize your vision in a few sentences or a short paragraph. Present tense as if it's already happening. For example, I am living in a healthy body, running my own graphic design business that allows me creativity and flexibility. I spend plenty of time with my family and travel to a new country each year, continuously learning and growing. Make it as vivid and specific as you can, but it's for your eyes, so no need for it to be perfect prose. The act of writing it crystallizes your vision and gives you a tangible reference. It might feel a bit aspirational or even audacious. That's good. A vision should be inspiring and stretch you beyond where you are now, while still feeling aligned with who you truly are. Create visual reminders. Some people make a vision board, a collage of images and words that represent their vision. This can be a fun, creative way to remind yourself of your goals. You might include pictures of a location you want to live, words that capture how you want to feel, e.g., fulfilled, energetic, financially free, or role models who embody aspects of your vision. Place this board somewhere you see often. Even if you're not a crafty person, you could keep a photo or symbolic object on your desk that reminds you of your big dream. The key is to keep your vision in sight and thus in mind, so that it continually influences your choices and refreshes your motivation. Ensure your goals align with your vision. Revisit the goals you set, or will set, and check, are they leading you toward your vision? If your vision is, say, to be a novelist living by the ocean, but all your current goals are around advancing in a corporate office job in the city, there might be a disconnect. That doesn't mean quit your job immediately, but it might mean you should set some writing goals or relocation plans to bridge toward what you truly want. Aligning goals with vision ensures you're climbing the right ladder. It's possible to be very successful in reaching goals that don't actually fulfill you if those goals weren't aligned with your deeper desires. So use your vision as the compass to set the right goals and to sometimes say no to things that don't serve it. Use your vision to overcome challenges. We've discussed how a compelling vision helps you endure setbacks. When challenges arise, actively recall or revisit your vision. Picture that end state in your mind. This can renew your determination. For instance, if you're enduring years of difficult training or schooling, envisioning yourself in your dream role at the end can make those late-night study sessions more bearable. Vision provides resilience. It's the lighthouse that keeps you oriented during storms. Evolve your vision. Over time, life is dynamic, and you might discover new things about yourself as you go. It's okay for your vision to evolve. Perhaps, achieving some early goals opens your eyes to possibilities you never considered, or you change as a person and your priorities shift. Revisit your vision periodically, maybe once a year or every few years, and see if it still rings true. Adjust details or directions if needed. Just ensure that any change comes from genuine growth or new insight, not from giving up when something feels hard. There's a difference between refining your vision because you've outgrown it versus abandoning it due to temporary setbacks. The former is fine. It's growth. The latter is something to be cautious about. Live your vision today, in small ways. A vision might seem distant, but think about aspects of it you can incorporate into your current life. If your vision involves being a kind leader who helps others, ask how you can practice those qualities now in whatever role you have. If your vision includes peace and balance, find small ways to create peace and balance in your current routine. This not only makes your present life more fulfilling, but also builds a bridge to your future. You start being the person from your vision right now, which often attracts opportunities related to your vision. It also reinforces your belief that the vision is achievable. You're already living bits of it. Your vision is the ultimate why behind your efforts, and it will be the driving force that integrates everything you've learned in this audiobook. With a clear vision, self-belief gets stronger because you know you're meant for something great. Discipline and consistency become easier because you see how each day's actions contribute to the beautiful picture you're painting. Setbacks become more tolerable because you know they're just detours, not dead ends, on the way to your destination. As we conclude, imagine yourself standing at the beginning of the path to your vision. You have in your toolbox all the elements we've discussed: belief in yourself, the mental discipline to do the work, the habits that support your progress, the goals marking the path, the resilience to overcome obstacles, and the consistency to keep going. And now you have your North Star, your vision, shining ahead. The journey may be long, but you're equipped to handle it step by step. Remember that success is built, not found. You truly are building a success mindset from scratch, laying the foundation with thoughts and beliefs, erecting the pillars with habits and goals, weatherproofing it with resilience, and illuminating it with vision. It's a lifelong project, but one that yields the most rewarding results. A life that feels true to you, and the fulfillment of seeing your aspirations come to life. As you step forward from here, hold your vision in your heart and your daily practices in hand. Even if you start with just 1 or 2 changes from this journey, that's a brick laid. Keep laying bricks. Trust the process, believe in yourself, and be patient. Over time, you'll look around and realize that the mindset you built has become an unshakable foundation under your feet. You'll face new challenges and goals, but now you know how to tackle them. With a calm, determined, growth-oriented mind. This is your journey, and you have everything within you to succeed. Start today. In fact, you've already started just by listening and engaging with these ideas. Continue this work each day. Your success mindset is your greatest asset. Nurture it, and it will keep guiding you. The life you've envisioned is truly within reach. Believe in it, work for it, and day by day, you'll watch it become your reality. Now go out there and make it happen. You've got this.